Hi, I'm Alyssa Truesdale on the Extra Point with Khalil Garriott from the NFL Players Association. Good morning, Khalil. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I just wanted to start off you telling us a little bit about what you do for the NFLPA.
Sure. So my name is Khalil Garriott. I currently serve as digital editor at the National Football League Players Association. That includes being responsible for our website, which is nflplayers.com. So a lot of my role is to oversee that website. Any content that lives on that website goes through me. So that includes a lot of writing, editing, interviewing players, producing interactive content, posting press releases, working on special projects and special events that are going to have a home on the website. That's kind of the creative side, but a lot of the technical things that I do day to day are interviewing athletes, NFL players, writing stories about them, editing other people's work, and then there's a promotional aspect as well, where a lot of my work is being promoted on the NFLPA's social media channels. So you'll see, if you follow us on Twitter or like us on Facebook or even just check out our website day to day, I do my best to keep it constantly updated. But we use the social media aspects to funnel out stories that live on nflplayers.com.
So you keep pretty busy on your job.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And I would like to add that Khalil is a JMU graduate, so he did attend JMU. So I'm going to start by asking you, what are some things that, as an employer for the NFLPA, what are you looking for in potential interns or employees there?
Good question. In general, I should probably start by saying working in sports is extremely competitive. I think it's even a step above that. I call it cutthroat. People are just so talented, and there's such a demand for the jobs that are out there in sports. So that said, whenever I get a resume from people that went to JMU, I give them preferential treatment when I can, but also others. I look for them having not only good experience working in sports, but just because your previous jobs might not be in the sports industry, show a passion for wanting to work in sports. Show that that is your main drive and that's what you're focused on. I think a lot of times employers get caught up in previous job, how does that translate to the next job, and there might not be a connection there, but whenever I meet with somebody for an informational interview or a real interview with a current college student, or if they're just out of college, I try to really get a sense for what makes them tick and what really they're passionate about. You have to be tremendously hardworking to work in sports. You have to be willing to work odd hours. That includes nights, weekends, holidays. It's just the nature of the industry. A lot of games take place then. A lot of events are held then. And when you're starting out, you have to be willing to put in your dues and take a low-paying job that ultimately is going to pay off in the long run if that's the right career for you.
So with that being said, when you were applying for jobs when you first graduated, or even for internships while you were at school, what made you stand out among your competitors?
I think that what made me stand out was probably my attention to detail would be one. With the journalism background that I have, I'm always kind of keeping that editor's eye on whatever it is that I'm working on or looking at. I think that I'm pretty organized, so whenever I would interview for jobs or even just day to day now, I think what comes across is that I have a real system in place of how I do my job every day, and that includes a strong, organizational, being methodical about what I'm working on, kind of not being scatterbrained and all over the place, but having a system in place. And just knowing that my two personal passions, as long as I can remember, have been sports and journalism. So I've known that I've always wanted to look for a career that marries those two interests. I've been fortunate to have done so to this point in my career, but you always kind of think about what's next, and you always wonder, are my skills being fully utilized right now? Am I happy day to day? Luckily, I've been in a great job for 6 years now, but like I said earlier, when you work in sports, kind of be prepared to, it might not be your dream job right away, but everything is a step in the right direction to your end goal. So that was probably a roundabout way of answering your question. But.
So then, what is next for you? Do you have something that you would like to be doing after this?
Yeah, I think it's smart no matter what point in your career you're at to always think about, what you'd like to do eventually. Like I said earlier, are you really, is the passion that you have inside really being exposed through your work? And I always tell people, find your passion, follow your drive. But for me, I've always had a journalism sense and a strong ability to write. So ideally, I'd like to get eventually, whenever I'm ready to lead the NFLPA, I'd like to get to a media company or a news organization covering sports. So, being a sports writer, which is a lot of my current job, is what I do is sports writing, but also just embracing all the new technologies that are out there, because in this day and age, it's kind of obsolete to write a 1,000-word story that nobody has time to scroll through. So you need to be well-versed in other technologies. That's partly why I went to graduate school. I got a master's in journalism from Georgetown University, and I would definitely recommend considering graduate school to all the undergrads that are maybe having trouble finding their way or not totally certain about what they want to do next. It's a great way to kind of get your feet wet in the industry, meet people with similar backgrounds. So I'm hoping to use my master's degree in the next step in my career, wherever that is.
All right, well, good luck to you in your future, and thank you very much for spending the time to talk to us today. We'll see you next time on The Extra Point.